come upon the discovery that one of the components of the mystery is to make everything exclusionary, so that it seems like only white privileged heterosexuals do things, and anyone else that tries to do it would be an interloper.
Yes.
So I think the example we found was a couple of guys who opened an antique shop.
That's right.
In the hopes that gay people or LGBTQ people would find it a better space to go antiquing, and we were puzzled by that, because who cares who you are if you go antiquing? Well, there's a new one now, which only proves the point that we were on the right track with this nonsense. We now learn, where is it? Oh, I think this is an Alpha News piece.
Yes, it is.
The Met Council has a $2 million equity grant program. Now,
that's nice.
I'll keep in mind that you don't get to vote for whoever is on the Metropolitan Council. They just spend your money.
They're appointees, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
very little accountability. But Washington County hosted a kayaking event this spring, but the registration was prioritized for people of certain races and sexual orientations, because apparently they're otherwise banned from being on water.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Registration is prioritized for Washington County residents that identify as Black, Indigenous, people of color, ages 65 years or older, low income, annual income of $60,000 or less, LGBTQ plus and or persons with a disability. So it was free, and it was called Learn to Paddle. Because, see, if you're a BIPOC person, you would not be able to paddle.
Okay.
You would not know what to do.
Just instinctively, you would just kind of shut down.
If you were an indigenous person, you would almost think paddling would have come naturally, right?
You would know right
but
away.
apparently that's not it. And if you're 65...
You're old.
Oh, well, 65 isn't that old, Matt.
It's not.
But if I handed you a paddle, I'd have to explain, what you would do with it.
Boy, most 65-year-olds would instinctively know.
You would think so.
That seems awfully discriminatory, Joe.
And if you're making $60,000, you don't know what a lake is.
Sure.
So you've never been near a stream or water. So we prioritized all that because all those people, BIPOC people and LGBTQ plus, have been forbidden from being near water.
Their entire lives.
The evil white founders of the country, when they founded the country, these are little-known aspects of the Constitution, but there are sub-paragraphs in there where it says, in the future, if there's any LGBTQ people, do not let them near a kayak. They cannot be kayakers. So we're going to do that free. It was already held. We had one as recently as June 5 at Square Lake Park in the Lake Elmo Park Preserve. Participants will learn how to paddle.
Learn. How do you teach?
Wait, no, you do. You do teach people how to paddle. There is an art to it, especially in a canoe.
Well, true.
But it seems
we've had many family fights in a canoe on learning how to paddle.
This trying to be inclusionary, is that the word?
Inclusive?
Right.
Is turning out to be exclusionary.
Well, you would think so.
But it lists everybody but
me.
Us.
but crackers.
Right. Everybody but a cracker.
Right.
I have the full list. Even people older than 65. Joe, do you know how to canoe? You could have gone.
But I already know how.
I can go in 5 years.
I'm privileged. I've never been forbidden.
Low-income people. Chris, you make less than $60K. You could have gone.
That's true.
Throw me in there.
LGBTQ, Matthew, that's for you.
Oh, okay. Different route.
Disabilities, that's, I guess, me.
Well, where are we headed with this thinking that it's part and parcel to driving home the idea that equity is exclusionary? There it is. That equity is not attainable by, and then they just start listing the politics of identity. And if you're a Hispanic American, you don't have equity. just by virtue of being Hispanic American.
See, and I thought you were going to bring up a different part of this story.
What's that?
This cost us $2 million.
Well, Chris, actually, it was $2,068,000 in 2024. The Metropolitan Council awarded this as part of its equity grant program.
Okay, so that answers my question, because one of the lines is free interactive instruction for beginners ages 10 up to kayaking, and I'm wondering what's wrong with that promotional line right there. Learn to kayak, learn to paddle, ages 10 and up, come one, come all. But now you're telling me it was grant-based, so they had to include that language.
But here, see, you know what this is proof of? They do have too much money.
Right.
Taxes are collected too mightily. This is unneeded. This whole idea that bike riding is exclusionary, kayaking is exclusionary, canoeing is exclusionary, antiquing is exclusionary, and you come up with the exclusionary component, then it's just a no-brainer. You're going to find a public agency that'll sop that up and send you the check.
But like in the case of Washco, I'm guessing it was first, let's get the money, and then we'll figure out how to spend it, right? Isn't that what they did? Let's get that money, and then we'll figure out what to do with it.
Well, you're on the right track. They probably, and not just Washington County, probably all 86 counties in the state get wind of the idea that grant money is available if we can dream up an equity program. Washington County could come up with, they didn't come up with housing or food, they came up with kayaking.
Right.
That's what they came up with.
Wasn't it the same mentality that Governor Ventura had with, I think it was money for light rail? The money's there.
There's a big pot of money sitting on the table.
Let's go get that money, and then we'll figure out how we're going to spend it.
That's not far off at all. He even, I think I'll use the city St. Louis. I think he said, well, if we don't get it, St. Louis will get it.
Well,
so he just wanted the money because he also had this vision of him driving on an empty freeway.
Right.
With his Porsche and going 100 miles an hour because every single human being in the metro would be on the train.
Who doesn't have that dream?
Right.
Come on.
Now, did they award $2 million to Washington County, or was that the total amount of equity money available to the state, I wonder? Washington County got another $20,000 for water safety outreach programs, but again, I'm sure that would have been applied only to the excluded people. And then you got your BIPOC Connect. Those are free get-togethers in the parks. But you have to have a goal when you're there. You have to welcome Black, Indigenous, and people of color into outdoor spaces. Because see...
So funny, I've never done that before.
The first lesson is how to open a door.
Yep.
See, they have kind of a fake house there, like a movie set.
Yeah.
And then everyone lines up. If you're a black guy, you come up and they go, okay, now here's the handle. Now you turn it to the left.
Okay.
And I'll push it. See, it opens.
There it is.
Now take a few steps. Where are you? And the guy will have to say, I'm outside.
Go through the portal.
And that only costs $20,000, $2,000,
Right.
And then if you're a lesbian person, door. You're brought up to the front, and then you're asked to look up. Look up. What do you see?
A rainbow.
Blue. That's called the sky.
Okay.
And now you're outside. Because if you're one of these people, you've never had that opportunity.
You mockingly say that, but I really wonder what goes into
how am I supposed to welcome people to the park? Hey, how are you?
That's what I'm saying. I would love to know what their mode of operation is to welcome them to the park. Have you seen it before? We got a shelter here. We got a drinking fountain.
Now, see that table?
Horseshoe toss.
It's got. See that table? There's a bench on either side of the table. You get to sit on that
Did you
bench.
bring potato salad?
And that's for food. You can bring food. We don't care in what device. If a hamper would be exclusionary,
right?
Because that you'd have to know what that is. So that's unfair. So you can bring the food in a bag.
I don't think you're really thinking this through, though. There's many people
I think
out
I'm
there.
thinking it through too much.
I think there's a lot of people out there that could use a little education when it comes to kayaking.
Yeah.
Stop breaking my kayak!
That's the bear. The bear.
Please stop!
She's trying to negotiate with a grizzly bear.
You know what else is exclusionary?
Camping.
Birding.
Birding.
You can't look at birds if you're a BIPOC person. You're not allowed to.
You can't.
Yeah.
You have an advantage.
Well, one of the upcoming BiPOC
What,
Connect.
sight?
Yeah.
Yeah, sight. White sight.
These are people destined to keep us separated.
Yes.
These are people
Right there.
But
destined.
they don't think that. They think they're bringing people together.
They are destined to ruin this country. They're so bent on it. Here's one. One of the upcoming BiPOC Connect events is a family-friendly birding event that Washington County advertised as a, oh, geez.
I got you. Here we go.
Oh,
Here we go. This ought to be.
as a way to foster an inclusive space.
Oh, that's got to
Space gets foghorn for sure. Foster an exclusive space for all with emphasis on LGBTQ plus and BIPOC communities. So, as part of the Metropolitan Council Equity Grant Program, the Minneapolis Park and Rec Board received $160,000 to create new maps and interpretive panels for the 55 kiosks located along the Grand Round Scenic Byway system.
How much did they get?
$160,000. The panels were updated to include an Indigenous Land, People, and Nations acknowledgement statement, among other things. The Metropolitan Council awarded over $2 million in equity grants in 2021, and that's up from only $300,000 in 2019. So they're really starting to get the project underway with giving. So I imagine. Oh, wait a minute, though. It said Washington County.
Yeah. That's where this was.
No, but the event was funded through Met Council's $2 million equity grant program. So every county in the state could have figured out a way to get a taste. They just had to come up with some BS about,
Hey, what do you guys got? I don't know. LGBTQ
Yeah.
kayaking?
What else you got? What's going to stick?
I know, birding. Birding, because birding is very exclusive, because people have never been taught to raise their head up to see a bird in a tree.
But when it comes to this, you've got the world. I mean, you could do frisbee throwing.
Absolutely.
I just think of anything. And
Softball,
Town ball game?
town ball,
Aurora,
bike riding.
watching the Northern Lights.
Perfect. Hula hoops,
Hula hoops, yo-yo.
roller skating.
Playing the role of Mr. FYI as a loyal listener Hans on the town council. If the bear had gone to the training, he probably wouldn't have busted up the kayak.
That's
Absolutely
right.
That's a good
not.
point.
He would have been
Absolutely
taught.
not. He would have done that.
Solitaire on your phone for LGBTQ.
Exactly. Grocery shopping.
I think you nailed the point. The main point I'm taking away is they're doing everything they can to keep us separate and at each other's throats.
They're doing everything they can to keep us compartmentalized.
Yep.
It's just in Washington County. I grew up in Washington County.
Washco.
I don't know what kind of fruitcakes they got running the county now, but they're fruitcakes. and this is ridiculous.
And by fruitcakes, please define what you mean.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Fruitcakes with nuts.
You were born on the no, you were born in the water. You've been around the water your entire life.
But that's
I
only
would-
because of privilege.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Of course.
Yeah.
We all know your dad comes from a vast family of wealth. Your grandmother, for instance, had a huge mansion out on the prairie.
No, it was a sod hut.
Anyway, how would you? I would love to be in the class where you are the teacher of kayaking. That
Well,
would be so fun. First, you paddle on your left, then you paddle on
bring
your
it
right.
to the other side.
Then it's back to the left,
Yeah.
and then back over to the right.
Otherwise, you're just going to go in a circle.
Right.
But here's what's amazing is the people who spend our money think nothing of $2 million. They have no respect for $2 million. And the Met Council has no business giving away our money. They're unelected bureaucrats. They have no idea about anything, much less giving away $2 million for equity grant programs. But what's been established by the mystery is that they continue to identify new groups of people for whom equity has been hidden. And they'll even consider something as benign as birding